If you are thinking about moving to the North Scottsdale area and considering living in DC Ranch, then this video is for you. So stay tuned as we take a deep dive. And we're starting right now. Welcome back. I am Michelle Miller with Michelle Miller AZ, and we are talking about DC Ranch today. It's a very popular area in the northeast portion of Scottsdale. It's actually sits just right above the 101 highway as you're heading north. And so the story of DC Ranch dates back to 1885 when it was first registered as the DC cattle brand by W.B. Crosby, or they called him Doc Crosby. He was actually a doctor in the Army. And then in 1901, it was E.O. Brown laid claim to it. He's actually from Wisconsin. Little props to Wisconsin. And it would grow into be like a 43,000 acre cattle ranch. And so if you've seen my video on Brown's Ranch Trailhead, that's a big hiking path in North Scottsdale off of Dynamite and Alma School. That's the same E.O. Brown. That actually was where his homestead was. And I think from what it sounds like, or what I've read, is that he expanded all the way from the DC Ranch area all the way on up to where Brown's Ranch is today. Okay, DC Ranch is made up of four sections, I guess you would call them. So there is the Desert Camp Village, there's the Desert Parks Village, there's the Country Club Village, and then there's Silverleaf. And so there's a lot of housing varieties in this whole area. So in the Desert Camp Village, that's the one that's closest to the little DC Ranch Marketplace, which is really cute. And then in here you'll find like there's like some townhouses, and those can really vary in price also, but you're gonna find stuff that's around 1,700, 2,000 feet, somewhere in that area. This is where you would be looking if you want to be under $1 million. Then they're gonna move up into like the Desert Parks Village, and this is gonna be like the areas that has like the bungalow, the ranch, and the hacienda style homes. These are gonna start bumping up in price. You're gonna be over the $1 million mark here. These are gonna be small, I would call them like patio homes that are around 2,000 feet all the way up to maybe around 3,600 feet. And then the lot sizes are gonna vary. But unless you're in the country club area, those are larger lots. Most of the lots in DC Ranch are not very spacious. So some of them can be long and deep, but like side to side, you're pretty close to your neighbor. So that's something to keep in mind if you do like a lot of space between you and the person that lives next door to you. All right, the country club, that, like I said, these are gonna be custom homes. In part of it is there's also the section of townhomes that's on the corner of Thompson Peak and Pima, and in there they're going to be kind of a nice luxurious townhome style. That's a gated community too. That the country club is man gated, and they're very particular about their being man gated, so they thoroughly check your car out, etc. But these are large in the country club area. This is where the DC Ranch Country Club is. There is now at the time of making this video, I think it's 2 to 3 year wait for a golf membership, and social memberships, I think there's also a wait if they're even still doing that. A lot of them are getting rid of that. But large custom homes, and these are you're gonna find these up into the 2 million, 3 million, 4 million on up. So just some large parcels. Really beautiful community area, but expensive. Okay, and lastly is Silverleaf. So Silverleaf is like the primo, expensive, very fancy neighborhood. Like this is the country club. At last update I had, cost $500,000 to join. It's very lovely. It's very European inspired, the clubhouse and all that. I mean, really, really beautiful. You know, they limit their memberships, so it's not an easy ticket to come by any means. In here, they have kind of, in the lower part of Silverleaf, you're gonna have, it's really cute actually. They have these big green spaces, and then they have these little houses that sort of dot around. It has like sort of just a kind of a old-timey sort of feel. And then a lot of houses are courtyards. So you don't have a big backyard or anything. Your house is almost sort of built like in a U, and you kind of have your pool and everything in the middle of the house. And then when you get up into the hills, then you have like big sprawling houses. I mean, there's a house on the market right now. It's 24,000 feet big, and it's $54 million. So I think the cheapest one at the time I was doing my research a couple days ago, the cheapest house in Silverleaf was $3 million. So just something to keep in mind. If you have a lot of extra money like that, then go for it. It's very lovely, but very expensive. All right, so schools in the area. So you're gonna have Desert Canyon Elementary, you're gonna have North Ranch, which is available. Then you're actually pretty close to the Basis School that a lot of people, that's a private school that's really, really highly ranked nationally actually. And that is it's like gonna be a little bit of a drive, but you know, it's not super far. It might take you maybe 15 minutes to get there. So if you have the time to go back and forth, this is the Scottsdale Unified School District. There's also right in the community is Copper Ridge, and that runs K through 8. And then as the kids go to high school, you can do Notre Dame Prep, which is a Catholic school, is very close. It's also very highly ranked. The public school will be Chaparral High School, and then you can also go to, there's also Scottsdale Prep and Great Hearts, which runs through 5th through 12th grade. So we have a lot of charter schools in Arizona. It's really very different than any place I've ever lived. So that's where you see like Basis, these Great Hearts, a lot of these are popping up, maybe because our public schools aren't necessarily ranked that high nationally. Okay, and like with all these neighborhood videos that I do, I like to point out pros and cons because there's no perfect place to live. I mean, maybe San Diego, but it's so expensive, so that cuts it out too. So, but anyways, for DC Ranch, the pros would be the proximity to the 101. You're right just north of it, and so it's really easy to get on, get around town, get to Sky Harbor Airport, go down to Paradise Valley for dinner and things like that, go to downtown, all that. Great. There's 47 parks embedded within the community. There's a lot of biking trails too, so you don't even see the biking trails. They were really conscious. Actually, a friend of mine actually designed the bike trail system in there, and they don't want it seen by the everyday person, so it stands out. So, but they meander all the way through the neighborhood. It's actually really nice feature that it has. There is, when you are in the Hacienda and that part of the Desert Village section, Desert Parks Village, excuse me, then there is a community pool, a little like community center. Right now it's under construction, but set to reopen. So that is, a lot of people have their own pools, but they do have a community pool if you are living in those sections. And then there's like a nice good walk factor with, again, all the paths that you can do for walking and hiking. And then what I also like is the DC Ranch Marketplace is just a really cute little shopping, dining, a nightlife kind of place to go. There's little parks in there. You see a lot of people getting like engagement pictures or family pictures or graduation pictures are like crazy. They're always taken in there. So, and a lot of good restaurants. Great Grimaldi's Pizza, which I love. The living room is kind of a fun place to hang out. There's a Fleming Steakhouse. And Vic and Ola's is a really nice Italian restaurant. So a lot of things that are just like walkable from a lot of the places in DC Ranch, or a little quick bike ride if you want to do that. So, okay, now the cons. A lot of people don't know, but Silverleaf, as expensive it is right in the flight path of the Scottsdale Airport and not Sky Harbor. Scottsdale has, like, I think it's the second largest private airport, and all those private jets fly right over Silverleaf. When it's the Waste Management Open or the Arabian Horse Show, you're like, have a lot of flight traffic over your property. So just something to keep in mind if that noise bothers you. The lots, like I said, can run on the smaller side, so if you want a little arm space between you and your neighbor, maybe this isn't the neighborhood for you. Price definitely is a con. If you just go west of DC Ranch, you're gonna hit Greyhawk and you actually will get a little bit more for your money. And another pro, a lot of the area was built by Camelot Homes, so the homes have a really attractive feel to them. They sort of have I feel like a Santa Barbara style to them, which I think also makes it very attractive. Also, there's a community enhancement fee on any transaction in DC Ranch, so it's 0.5% of the purchase price, and that they will collect at the close of escrow. So you need to keep that in mind. The HOA fees are also higher when you get it. So there's a DC Ranch one, then when you get behind these gated communities, then there's one for that, and then if you are in a condo, you're gonna potentially have a third one. So look at all the numbers. If you're buying the $54 million house, this is probably, not an issue. But for regular people like me, that's kind of important when you realize how much money you have to bring to closing. So yeah, just the higher fees. But overall, it's a very lovely community. Like I said, it has a lot of nice amenities. And so, if you have questions about that area, please feel free to reach out to me. I'm always happy to answer your questions. And my contact information is at the end of this video. So I appreciate your time. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.